Hello everyone, it's Pam here with Tattered Paper and Lace, and I am so happy that you have come to join me today. I am on and going to do week 6 of the Margarete Miller weekly collage challenge. And this one, will tell you real quickly, this one was a struggle to get all the things on there that I wanted to do. And I'll explain why that's a challenge, why it was a challenge this time. Circles are a challenge because something you might have that will fit in the bigger part of it, but you don't need for it to be there, and you move it over, then you've got to cut something off. You've got to make sure that what you're cutting off is not important or takes away from the story, if you will. But anyway, welcome to my channel. If you've just found me, thank you for coming along. I hope you enjoy what you see, and those who have been with me all along, thank you for coming back. Let's just get right into it, and let's look at hashtag 2025 CWP6 if you would like to see what others have done with these same prompts. Going over the prompts, we need an animal with fur, text in a foreign language, a torn piece of paper with an interesting edge, a product label or packaging, a calendar page or a date square, and the bonus is a ribbon or washi tape. I again was able to do all of these things, and my struggle was finding an animal with fur that was small enough to do what I wanted in the right positioning and blah, blah, blah. That was a struggle, but I've got them all, and let's go through it. So we needed an animal with fur. I am going to use this little chipmunk, and he came from this 1955 Guide to Familiar American Species of Mammals. And he was in the right positioning and all, but it took me a while to find something. I was looking in my Reader's Digest North American Wildlife book, and I just couldn't find anything that was in a position that was just like I wanted it to be. Okay, then text in foreign language, which I as often and most times will have my background already applied to my coaster. So these is my weekly coaster collages, and this is from a French book, and I don't know how old this is. Let me grab it. We'll see. I'm curious. I like to use vintage things when I can, and this one I believe is a vintage book. It is Selected French Short Stories. So let me see. This is copyright 1939. So yes. So this image came from a 1955 field guide. The background of this came from a 1939 French Selected French Short Stories. Okay, and then a piece of torn paper with an interesting edge. This is also vintage. I don't know exactly how vintage because it is from a player piano roll. And so I don't know how old this might be, but it's sort of a tissue-y kind of paper. I think I'm going to use this side, I think. I'm not sure yet. But anyway, let me show you the interesting edge. Because it is a player piano roll, the roll, you know, this is one side of the roll right here. Let me move you in, just move you up just a little bit. So this is one side of the roll. This actually was the perforation of where the piano would pick up what the tune is. And this is, I don't have very many pieces of this left. And this is the edge of it, and I don't know if you can see, you can't see this in the camera, but it has almost a sawtooth look right here. That's where the perforations were, and then your next piece of paper was next to it, and there were basically dots and dashes. So right here where this is dipped in, that was a solid piece of paper attach, you know, to attach the pieces together. I don't have any more of this really to show you what that exactly looks like, but that's what this is. And I thought that had a rather interesting edge to it. When you can see it, I'm kind of ink that, I think, with a walnut stain, maybe a darker ink, so that you can see that. Then a product label or packaging. I have some labels that I bought online, and this is Bohemian, maybe, hair tonic. Destroys dandruff, strengthens the hair, and prevents it from falling out. And this is Boston, Massachusetts. This is a copy of the original label because I did not want to use up the original label. So that's going to be my packaging label. Calendar page or date square. I have this little tiny February, the month of February, from, you know, one of these giveaway calendars you get in the mail sometimes that are just on a card, and all the months are on the card. So I just cut it up and use it as I need to. And then ribbon or washi tape. I have this washi tape, and this, I have a whole roll of this. I just pulled these off. Then these are like some sort of ticket. It says transport services, so, you know, there's supposed to be some sort of ticket. So that's the things that I will be using on this collage. And so we'll kind of get it laid out like I thought I would want it to be. Some things are going to go off the edge, but I really wanted the hair tonic part of this to show, because this is an animal with fur, so he has hair. And I thought, okay, he might want to have some hair tonic because, well, he wants to, you know, look dashing and debonair for his female chipmunks, maybe. And so he's going to go there like that. And then this is going to go underneath here. So I will be putting that down in a moment. It's going to go underneath here, kind of at an angle, like he's sitting on that, because he's got a little bit of grass around his tail, and this matches that. It also matches this. Excuse me, I can't even see that. This matches the little bit of greenery that's around the chipmunk's tail. It matches the background of this, plus it has red on it like this does. So I thought that would fit in nicely. This little calendar piece, this little line right here, is also in a green. So I thought that would fit in nicely. And then, so this is going to go under here like so. And then this piece, I either want to do it like this, but let me show you what that would look like. So this is where I cut the circle out for this collage. So I can just lay this back over it, and you can kind of see where I'm going, you know, how it's going to look. So I want this to go further up if it can. I'm going to take it off. Its paper's not really sticking to it that much. And it's going to stick down first anyway. So let's see if we can get that in place. And it's perforated in the middle there, so I wanted to get it, you know, in the best place possible. Covering up this whole bottom piece. Well, I can't make it, I can't get it to move correctly. Let's see if I can do it with some tweezers. There we go. Okay, so this will go over this like this. And so I wanted this piece to just be along the edge, just so you could see the torn part. And I want most of this label to show. So it's kind of going to look like this. Bring that in to just barely to the edge. It's going to kind of look like that. Need to move that over a bit. Okay. This is where, that's kind of how it's going to look. if you can see that. Lighting seems to be dark, but maybe you can tell. Let me move the whole thing this way if I can. Not very well, but okay. So I think, yeah, I think that's sort of how it's going to be. So let's continue on. Excuse me. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Just like that. It's washi, and I think it will stick pretty good, especially to this paper. I think it will stick pretty good. I am going to take my nail file, and file this a little bit off here. Let's see if we can make that happen. Just like this. Just like that. And we'll throw those pieces away. I don't think we'll be able to use those with anything else. And I have lots of this washi, so okay, so there's that. So that's how that looks. So you see, you got to be careful with a circle, that you keep the things that are important to you for the project, so that the project looks as you would like for it to look. So in other words, if I put this over all the way to the edge up higher, then it's going to cut off, because this is where it would cut off, and it'll cut off part of and I don't want to cut off part of the name of the label. I like the label. It's vintage, or it's a replica. It's a replica of vintage. So I'm going to do it like that. I don't care. I don't mind it over here so much. You know, it can take off a little bit of that, and I just wanted the name of it to be on here. And the fact that it was hair tonic. Somehow that's not working the way it was earlier. Okay, so maybe I had it like that. Or that. I might have to take off a little, well, I'll move it over a little bit, because I want it to go all the way to the edge. Okay, like that. And then this little guy, let me take it out just a little bit. This little guy is going to go here. See, he was just bebopping along, and he found this label. And he's thinking, I just might want to try that. See, I think it'll just barely fit in there, right there, and right along there. Yep, that's where I want that to be. And he's going, this might be something good to have. So he's contemplating. I'm gonna go ahead and glue this in a little bit, because this is where this needs to be. Let me just double check. I hold it up to the light to, sorry, I just hit the camera. Hold it up to the light to make sure that that's where I want that to be. So I can go ahead, I actually can do it at the bottom. I can go ahead and glue it at the bottom, along this side and along this side and down here. I'm going to put the little calendar page under the top of it, so I don't want to glue that down yet up at the top until I get that on there. Okay, like that. So I have found these round pieces to be a little harder to deal with, because, you know, if I get him too far down, I actually would like for him to be further down, but his tail would get cut off, and I didn't really want to cut his tail off, so I'm moving him up further than I might ordinarily have done. I've been doing so his tail is right along the edge. And over, so his little tiny bit of his tail is going to get taken off, but that's going to be okay. Okay, yeah. Now this is next, I think. Uh-oh, I glued this down a little bit further than I needed to. Let's pull that back up. Because I need this to go over here. And I also want this to be right at the edge so that when I cut that off, that it doesn't cut off any of the wording up here. It doesn't cut off the February. Okay, so that's where I want that to be. So I think I can go ahead and glue the bottom of this guy. I think I can glue him all the way down, but I'm not going to yet, just in case. Just going to glue him right down here at the bottom, because that's where I want him to be. And I actually think let me double check against the light. Yeah, that's about right. So I can go ahead and glue that down. But you see what I'm talking about? This is really quite kind of fiddly. Let me use this. And I can kind of make a mark so I know where this is going. Because it's also hard to see the edge, so you know where it's going. Okay, so that was going to be right there. Yeah. Okay, so let's get this down. So I find this to be a little bit challenging as far as, so let's see how 52 weeks of this go. I'm not sure. Of course, as I do it, I'll get more used to finding things, probably, hopefully, that will work as I want them to. And I'll get used to working on this. It does take some time to get used to working on a small surface, for one, and for two, to work on something that's round. You really should try it. It's kind of fun. I mean, it's challenging. It's a challenge inside the whole challenge, and that's okay. I don't mind that at all. I'm going to go ahead and glue his feet and his nose down, or his foot and his nose, like it would be, like it should be. And then we'll glue the whole thing down, or the best we can anyway. Okay, so let's get this under here. Thank goodness for fine tip ink, fine tip glue thingies, glue bottles. They work great. Okay. Actually, let me use this. I like to use this better. I think I need a little bit under that right there, so that won't get torn. Just a little bit right there. Okay, now, I think that's cute. That seems to work pretty well. So, we have had some cold weather. Again, I'm filming early, so I can only talk about what's going on today. Which, you know, it's not really what's going on at the time you're seeing this, but I try to get these done early. So it's been cold. We had snow. Well, not really. We didn't really have snow. It's kind of snowy. It was more like sleet. But it was a little bit white, not heavy. We enjoyed watching it, seeing it. We don't get it very often. Okay, so I'm just gonna stick this right here, but I do want to do inking with, I gotta find it here. I've got my browns stacked over here where I can get to them easily. And I want the walnut stain, I think. Which, of course, was on the very bottom. Because where else would it be? It would be on the very bottom. And I want to do it in walnut so you can see the edge of this a little bit. Otherwise, you won't really even notice it, I don't think. Not much, anyway. So that's kind of, I need to re-ink this one. I have some Stampin' Up. Somebody that knows anything about the Stampin' Up ink pads. I have one that I have the re-inker. And unlike, because I've re-inked the Tim Holtz Distress ink, not the oxides. I haven't re-inked any of those yet, but I have re-inked the distressed ink. And this re-inker for, I'll show you, I got it laying on my desk right here. Don't have the re-inker on here, but I've got the ink pad. It does really weird. It's, I don't know. So if you, well, anyway, when I re-inked it, it's this color. Let's see which one of these it is. It's this color right here. When I re-inked it, and then stamped with it, it's like it didn't do very much. It looks great, but when you do a stamp on it, I'm letting it sit. Maybe I had not let it sit long enough to do its thing. So I'm letting it sit longer. Okay, I'm just gonna do a little bit of this along the edge, just so we have a little bit of torn paper. But anyway, if I did it just like I did the distressed ink that Tim Holtz has, but it did not react in the same way, so it's like it's hard to say. It's kind of, I don't know. It's like it didn't soak into the pad like the, there, can we see that? Okay, now, there we go. Okay, now I need to clean off the edges so that it is actually round, and I am going to cut this. But anyway, so if anybody is familiar with and has re-inked their Stampin' Up ink pad, if you would let me know how that goes, and if I did it, I mean, I just did it on the pad just like I'll do on any of them. This February part of the calendar is cardstock, and so it will be hard to, the cardstock is hard to cut with the the file thing. It's hard to do that with that. The rest of it's paper, so I think it'll do okay. And then let's go around this. I hope that's dry enough. This little tissue-y stuff does better. And this book page did real good. But it all will do. It all works. There we go. Get the bits off. hope I don't have that too close for you. But I wanted you to be able to see what I was doing. Oh, and I need to get his tail right here. And that came right off. Okay. I like it. It turned out good. Let me smooth it up all the way around. And go over it. I need to ink it. And I'm still going to ink that with, this with brush corduroy. I just wanted to use the brush. I wanted to use the walnut stain on that just because I wanted it to be a bit darker. Okay, so let's ink around the edge here. I know people always make fun of us Southerners when we get quote unquote snow and that we just don't know how to drive in it and so forth and so on. But let me tell you that when we get the white stuff, it most often is icy underneath it because it will ice before it snows, and because it's usually rain before it turns into snow, and so it's not just the powdery snow, it is ice. So, you know, nobody can drive on ice very well. Just thought I'd let you know. Okay, here we go. This is my, oh, we got to ink around this too. So this is my collage, and let me ink around the prompts. I also need to I could just use another piece of the book page, or even just a collage with the same book page that I had if I wanted to. I don't know what I'll do. I probably am not going to do that with you because you've seen me do it. But let's go over the prompts. Okay, so we have an animal with fur, and this is from a 1955 guide to mammals. Text in a foreign language is in the background, and that is French from a 1939 book of French short stories. A torn piece of paper with an interesting edge is my piano roll paper here, and it's torn along the edge of where the perforations are to make the piano play the tune. And it makes kind of a sawtooth edge, so I think that's an interesting edge. A product label or packaging. So here is a product label for this Bohemian hair tonic, and that is, I don't know, but it is vintage, and this is a copy of the original. Then a calendar page or a date square. Well, I have the month of February. I would have done January, but I didn't have it. I'd already used January for something else, so I did February because it is the least close. And so that's my calendar piece. And then a washi, or a ribbon or washi. This part down here is a washi tape that is a faux transport services ticket. And that is down there. So that is my collage for week 6 of the Margarete Miller Weekly Collage Challenge, and I will glue this onto the back side. So, as you could see, my little bit of struggle with putting down the pieces and getting them in the right place on a circular thing. Because when you lay down your piece and your edges are going over the side, you can't see where the circle is, so you're not exactly sure where you're putting it, that you might cut off something you don't want to cut off. It is a challenge, but one that I am enjoying so far, and I really like this one. I think this one may be my favorite one to date. So thank you for coming along. Please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And thank you all for coming. I appreciate each and every one of you. Without you, I would not even need to have a YouTube channel. And I enjoy doing these collages and showing you journals that I've made and showing you processes sometimes along the way as well. So I thank you for coming along, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.